Very sadly, we're a nation in decline, and yet they go after a popular president, a president that got more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country, by far, and did much better the second time in the election than the first. And they go after him on a boxes hoax, just like the Russia hoax and all of the others. It's been going on for 7 years. They can't stop because it's election interference at the highest level. There's never been anything like what's happened. I'm an innocent man. I'm an innocent person. They had the Mueller hoax, the Mueller report, and that came out. No collusion after 2.5 years. That was set up by Hillary Clinton and Democrats. But this is what they do. This is what they do so well. If they would devote their energies to honesty and integrity, it would be a lot better for our country. They could do a lot better. They could do a lot of great things. So I just want to tell you, I'm an innocent man. I did nothing wrong. And we will fight this out just like we've been fighting for 7 years. It would be wonderful if we could devote our full time to making America great again. And that's exactly what we did. But now, again, our country is in decline. We're a failing nation. And this is what they do. I'm an innocent man. We will prove that again. 7 years of proving it. And here we go again. Very unfair. But that's the way it is. I just want to thank everybody.
All right, guys. So once again, we got to talk about former President Donald Trump getting indicted because the political witch hunt never stops, okay? And this time, it's not state-level charges like the ones from woke DA Alvin Bragg out in New York relating to the alleged hush money payments paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels by the Trump campaign. No, not that. This time we have federal level charges that, again, allegedly are going to be level on Trump by a grand jury out in Miami related to his alleged mishandling of classified documents and obstruction of justice. Okay, so if you guys are familiar with the story, allegedly Trump took classified documents from the White House to Mar-a-Lago after he left office, and allegedly he mishandled them, and the National Archives team tried to get those documents back, and allegedly Trump was obstructing, okay, or he wasn't fully cooperating, and that has basically led to these charges. Now, I've argued in the past that Trump has executive privilege, okay, as president of the United States, to declassify documents at will, which he definitely did, okay, as president. But you know, hey, apparently you got to go through a formal process in order to have these documents declassified, which again is funny because you know, this only really became a thing once the Trump situation came about. All of a sudden now there's this super formal process that you have to go through in order to declassify information. It's just kind of hilarious how that works. But they say, hey, there's a whole process that you got to go through, and Trump didn't go through that process, so therefore he didn't declassify the documents. Okay, I mean, you know, he did keep them locked up. Apparently they were in a secure location in Mar-a-Lago, according to him. Regardless, they're still going after him. Okay, they're still going after him for this.
Vanessa, thank you. Well, right now, federal prosecutors are using a second grand jury, this one in South Florida, as part of their investigation into the classified documents found at former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home.
Our co-anchor Stephen Graves live outside the federal courthouse in Miami, where the panel has already started meeting. And Stephen, you're learning that Trump's lawyers recently received a big notice.
Aaron, Nathalie, that's right. Good morning to you. And we are live here in Miami because we are waiting that possible indictment to come down. And it's because of what you just said. Sources confirming that former President Donald Trump and his team did get a letter from Special Counsel Jack Smith's office informing him that he is the target of that investigation regarding classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago. Now, experts say the point of a target letter is to put the person on notice about the possibility of an indictment. Trump took to Truth Social Wednesday, writing that he has done nothing wrong and is a target of the Department of Justice and FBI. Now, sources confirm that the grand jury here in Miami is investigating the possible mishandling of those classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, and it's key to note that this grand jury in Miami is in addition to a separate panel that for months has been meeting in the nation's capital, also regarding the former president and those classified documents. And there's still a lot of unknowns here. We don't know why prosecutors are using an additional grand jury or if more people will be asked to testify. We do know just yesterday, a former top aide to Trump went before the federal grand jury in Miami. His name, Taylor Budowich. He now runs a super PAC raising millions for the Trump campaign. And look at this, he posted on social media shortly after his testimony calling it bogus and a deeply troubling effort to use the power of government to get Trump. And the grand jury has already heard testimony from several witnesses in recent weeks, but the full scope of who they have called and who they might anticipate to call, we don't know just yet. But the Mar-a-Lago investigation with this grand jury being formed is believed to be in its final stages. And again, we could expect an indictment. While we know the former president is also at the center of another investigation we've told you about out of New York City. Back in April, he pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records. Those charges related to $130,000 in hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels during the 2016 presidential election. And we'll, of course, stay on top of any developments that come. You can download our WPBF 25 News app. Check our website as well. We have everything you need to know on there. For now, live in Miami, Stephen Graves, Aaron Nathley, back to you.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Now, again, this is an interesting situation for Trump because despite being indicted here with these federal charges, there are going to be at least 7 of them, reportedly, okay, when it comes to mishandling of classified documents, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy. That's what they're related to. We don't know exactly what the charges are, but it's interesting because, you know, I guess the good thing is that at least it's happening in Florida, right? So if he has to go forth before a jury, okay, then hey, you know, at least it's in Florida where, you know, that may swing in his direction, may benefit him, okay, rather than him being in DC where, you know, we've seen the outcome of what happens with these politically related trials in DC, okay. Also, you know, we've seen other figures, political figures, get in trouble for similar things, like, for example, what happened with former CIA director David Petraeus, where he got caught mishandling classified information, and he ended up getting charged with a misdemeanor, but he only served like 2 years of probation and had like $100,000 fine or something. Okay, so he got a slap on the wrist, right? But, you know, we've seen other people do jail time for this type of stuff. Okay, not Hillary Clinton, right, by the way, and also not Mike Pence, who the DOJ just finished their investigation on for his mishandling or alleged mishandling of classified documents, and they cleared him of any wrongdoing. Okay, and that just so happened to have occurred right before he announced that he was running for president. Now, the other investigation that's still out there is Joe Biden, the actual president of the United States, who got caught mishandling classified documents, just like Trump, okay, except this guy had him in like 3 or 4 different locations, right? He had him in his garage, his house, in one of his offices, okay? I mean, there was just classified information laying around everywhere, okay, out in the open for anybody to see as his, you know, son, you know, allegedly runs his prostitutes in and out of his Delaware home, right? I'm just saying, this is the type of stuff that's going on here, right? And Trump is getting charged, but Pence is not getting charged. Biden, they're saying that the investigation is not close to being wrapped up yet, as in they still got a whole lot more time to go. Okay, we really don't know exactly when they're going to come to a conclusion about that or what they're going to do. Wouldn't be surprised if, you know, they drag this out until after the election, right? While they go out to Trump right now. That's just kind of how it goes. But you would think that if they were treating both individuals equally under the law, that Biden would face some charges, okay? Because, hey, he mishandled documents. They weren't declassified. They were, you know, all over the place. He should be charged, right? If Trump's going to be charged, Biden should be charged. I don't care about the so-called obstruction of justice part, right? If it's a crime, it's a crime. This is what the Democrats are arguing, right? Nobody is above the law, right? Joe Biden should not be above the law. He shouldn't get a slap on the wrist because he wasn't arguing with the National Archive team and that he cooperated and blah, blah, blah. I want to hear that, right? If it's a crime and if it's that serious, then he should be charged, right? I'm just saying. But again, the question is, when this happens all the time, right? Just like the last time Trump was indicted, just like when Trump initially got Mar-a-Lago raided by the FBI, what is the GOP going to do in response? Okay, what is the GOP going to do? And initially, it looks like the GOP response is basically going to involve cutting funding for the Department of Justice and the FBI for basically targeting Trump. Okay, this is what it looks like initially. This is what they're threatening the Department of Justice and FBI with. So let's read a little bit about this, and then we're going to get into some bombshell allegations that have just come out about Joe Biden involving the FBI or FBI informant / whistleblower that has exposed a play for pay scheme involving Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and Burisma out in Ukraine when Joe Biden was vice president. Okay, but I want to read about this first to give you guys an idea of how the GOP may respond to the Trump indictment. The expected federal indictment of former President Trump, which former Attorney General Bill Barr predicts is near, is teeing up a Capitol Hill battle over funding for the Department of Justice and FBI. Trump allies, led by House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, have threatened to cut Department of Justice and FBI funding if those federal law enforcement agencies target Trump. But that's not a popular idea with Senate Republicans, who fear it gives political ammo to Democrats. The issue is heating up as lawmakers turn their attention to the annual spending bills to fund the federal law enforcement agencies. Senator Josh Hawley, a Trump ally, has called on Congress to reform the FBI in a major way. Maybe we need to break them up, he said. Quote, I do want law enforcement available to do law enforcement tasks. My concern with the FBI is they don't seem very concerned about law enforcement. They seem focused on these political witch hunts, he added. Yeah, so again, you know, basically in a nutshell, this is what they're threatening. Okay, Josh Hawley saying that the FBI has basically become political, which they have. Okay, and if you need evidence of that, again, just check out how they're basically trying to obstruct the GOP in their investigation into the alleged play for pay scheme that Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, are involved in when it comes to the company Burisma out in Ukraine, because the FBI director, Christopher Wray, doesn't want to go along with handing over the whistleblower document that basically exposes the alleged payments that the Bidens received in exchange for trying to disrupt a investigation. Take a look.
At the briefing, the FBI again refused to hand over the unclassified record to the custody of the House Oversight Committee, and we will now initiate contempt of Congress hearings this Thursday.
After being briefed on and viewing a document alleging President Joe Biden was involved in a $5 million bribery scandal, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said he would move forward with holding FBI Director Christopher Wray in contempt of Congress. Comer issued a subpoena in partnership with Senator Chuck Grassley in May. The subpoena demanded access to the FBI-generated FD 1023 form they say alleges an exchange of money between Biden and a foreign national.
No amount of spin and frankly lies from the White House or congressional Democrats can change this information.
The GOP lawmakers insinuated the exchange could have influenced U.S. policy decisions. Comer was able to view the document along with House Oversight Committee Ranking Member Jamie Raskin at the briefing. But the FBI still refused to hand over the document to the full House Oversight Committee. Therefore, Comer said he will now start the process of holding the agency's director in contempt.
The investigation is not dead. This is only the beginning.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, just in case you guys don't really understand the allegations, okay, I'm going to give it to you in simple layman's terms. Allegedly, Joe and Hunter Biden were paid $5 million each, okay, by a Burisma executive so that the Bidens could disrupt an investigation into Burisma, because Burisma was trying to get access to the U.S. oil market, okay? They was trying to get access to U.S. oil, And apparently that investigation would impede their ability to get access to U.S. oil. So they needed Joe Biden to use his power as vice president to, hey, shirk off that investigation. Now, we all know what happened to this Ukrainian prosecutor. He got canned.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time. Well,
yeah, so that is literally Joe Biden straight up saying in a video that, hey, I threatened to withhold U.S. taxpayer money from a foreign country if they did not fire a prosecutor that was investigating Burisma, which happened to be a company that his son was on the board of, while allegedly getting paid $5 million from Burisma. Again, this dude is basically admitted on camera, I definitely wanted that guy fired, okay? And I played a role in having him fired. Again, this is on tape, right? This is on tape. Again, all the evidence that is coming together here is basically a smoking gun, okay? Which, in my opinion, should be more than enough to start impeachment proceedings against Joe Biden, which, some people in the GOP claim is going to happen. This is what they say.
If this is all proven and you all come out and you have the evidence that Joe Biden and his family has been selling America out now for a decade while he was vice president, where is this going? They impeached Trump. Are you going to move to impeach Joe Biden?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He would need to be impeached. And then once he was impeached, hopefully there'd be some Democrats in the Senate that would recognize how grave the situation is and encourage him to resign like Goldwater did to Nixon. But once he's out of there, then he would have to be indicted because this is gross criminal misconduct. And some would even suggest treasonous, but I'm holding my tongue on that just yet. But we have got to find out how extensive this was. And then we have to take action. I mean, enough talk is talk. But if we produce this evidence that's starting to pile up, by the way, there's so much evidence, it's voluminous. It's taking everything we have with our staff to go through this. But as it piles up, if it is consistent with where the direction it seems to be headed, he should be impeached. And the Democrats cannot defend them with the lies going out that we heard earlier this week. They're going to have to come to grips.
Yeah, so again, as these bombshell allegations are dropping, okay, they came out today. It just so happens that this Trump indictment came out as well too, which means that the mainstream liberal media won't cover this at all. They're not going to talk about it. They're going to make sure the American people know nothing about it because this is all about the court of public opinion, which is kind of sad to think about because even if the GOP decides to try to impeach Biden, okay, if they actually, have enough evidence to conclude that he was bought and sold, okay, by foreign entities, okay, and he was selling out the American people, then, it's funny because I think in the court of public opinion, a lot of people are going to be so ignorant on this that they're going to think that this is just a witch hunt, right? That the GOP is just making it all up, okay? Because they've been told that it's Russian disinformation, that is not real, and that is only happening because of what's happening to Trump, which would give the Democrats motivation to not move forward with impeaching Joe Biden, okay, or removing Joe Biden from office, despite the fact that, again, this seems to be criminal. And considering how politically biased the FBI and the DOJ is, at least as of right now, I wouldn't count on them doing anything either, right? I wouldn't count on them bringing no charges against a sitting president, which, again, this is why this next election is so important, Okay, this is why 2024 is so important. Because first of all, we got to get Biden out of the White House. Okay, get him out of the White House. Get a GOP candidate in there, any candidate, really. Okay, get him in there. Okay, whether it be Trump, DeSantis, whoever. And if the GOP has any cojones, okay, if they get more seats in the House, hopefully, or they take back the Senate, again, this is the best case scenario, and win the presidency, they have to use all the power that they can to go after Democrats the same way the Democrats are going after them. I'm so serious, right? Because that is what separates the Democrats from the GOP right now, is that Democrats are willing to do whatever to win. Okay, they're willing to lock up their political opponents. Again, they're trying to lock up a former president of the United States, and we know damn well nothing's going to happen with Joe Biden, and he got accused of doing the same thing. Nothing's going to happen to him. So again, you got to do the same thing back to him once you take back power, if you take back power. But if they do take back power and they decide not to do anything, then you might as well throw the whole party away, right? What are they good for? Because they just let Democrats run over them, right? So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the response is going to be. I mean, in the immediate short term, I'm not sure if there's much they can do besides, negotiate with Democrats about cutting funding, okay, doing some of these spending talks that are going to come up, okay, and, maybe they can move to impeach Joe Biden once this investigation is done into his criminal family business. But outside of that, I mean, the main thing is going to be taking back power in 2024 and then turn around and weaponizing the government and government agencies the same way that Democrats did to them. But again, we will see if the GOP actually has the cojones to do that, or are they just going to continue to get screwed in the butt with no condom by the Democrats? Because that's exactly what the Democrats are doing. Okay, that's what they're doing to the GOP. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.